So, when you hear the words Khao Phansa, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's probably these amazing images of giant carved candles and huge processions, right? Big, vibrant community festivals. But is that the whole story? I think there's a much deeper question here. Is this time still about a profound, personal path to inner freedom, or has it become more about the big public show?
Right at the heart of Khao Phansa, you've got this really fascinating tension. On one side, you have the quiet, internal practice, that time for some serious self-reflection and spiritual development. And then on the other side, you have these huge, colorful external rituals, the public festivals that are just so spectacular to see. So how do these two things, these two worlds, even fit together?
So in this explainer, we're going to dive into both of these dimensions. We're going to look at how these two seemingly opposite aspects, the quiet personal journey and the loud public celebration, actually connect, and what that tells us about what Khao Phansa really means today. To really get what Khao Phansa is about, we have to start at its core, and that means we have to go right back to the very beginning, to its original purpose. What's so interesting is that this whole entire tradition really just started from a simple act of compassion. The Buddha set up this rainy season retreat to keep the monks from traveling and accidentally stepping on new crops or hurting all the little creatures that come out after the rains. So at its very root, it was all about causing less harm in the world.
And from that simple, compassionate beginning, it grew into this intensive 3-month spiritual training period for monks. You could almost think of it as a boot camp for enlightenment. It follows this 3-step path you see here. First up is pariyatti. That's studying the teachings, really digging into the knowledge. But just knowing stuff isn't enough, right? So next comes patipatti. This is where you put all those teachings into intensive, focused practice, like meditation. And the ultimate goal? That's pativada. It's that aha moment, that direct insight and real, true understanding.
So, how do you create the absolute best conditions for that kind of deep inner work? Well, that's where the rules of the retreat come in, like limiting a monk's travel. They're all designed to create what's called a sapaya environment. It's about intentionally cutting down on all the external noise and distractions to create a space that is perfectly set up for spiritual practice. It just gives you more time to be with yourself.
Okay, so while the monks are all focused inward, something pretty incredible starts happening on the outside. The lay community, the public, they develop these massive, beautiful celebrations. And this is the side of Khao Phansa that most of us are probably way more familiar with.
And make no mistake, these rituals have a really powerful purpose. They act as this kind of social glue, strengthening community bonds. They preserve these incredible artistic traditions, like the famous candle carving festivals, and on a very practical level, they're great for local economies and tourism. Plus, for a lot of people, these big, welcoming events are the front door. They're a gateway that connects them to their faith in the first place.
But you have to ask the question, right? With so much focus on the grand spectacle, all the elaborate parades, the entertainment, is the external party starting to overshadow the internal journey? Is all the noise from the festival kind of drowning out the quiet, inner work that started this whole thing?
This all leads to a really useful way of thinking about it. A great metaphor, actually. Are all of these rituals a bridge that leads to a deeper meaning? Or have they become the final destination all by themselves?
This quote from one of our sources just puts it perfectly. It really gets to the core challenge. These public rituals, they can be a beautiful bridge, leading people towards a deeper faith. But the danger is real. What happens when we just get stuck on the bridge, admiring the view, and totally forget to actually cross over to the other side?
So the key isn't to pick a side. It's not about internal versus external. The real work is in connecting the two. It's about making sure that these beautiful outer traditions always point back to their inner purpose. That way, we're not just, going through the motions. We actually understand why we're doing it.
And that brings this whole idea right back to us, doesn't it? How can we apply the spirit of this retreat in our own modern, super busy lives?
The great thing is, anyone can participate in the essence of Khao Phansa. Traditionally, there's the very popular Ngot Lao Khao Phansa campaign in Thailand, where people give up alcohol for the 3 months. But you can adapt this principle, this idea of virati, which just means abstaining or letting go. Maybe for you, it's taking a break from social media or cutting back on sensational news. It can be any act of letting something go to create a little more inner space and peace.
So, at the end of the day, the true meaning of Khao Phansa isn't some single, one-size-fits-all answer. It's really a personal journey. The goal is for each of us to find our own unique balance between our inner growth and how we participate in our communities and the world around us. It's about getting those two sides of our lives in harmony.
And so, that leaves us with one final thought. It's not really about having to choose between a private path or a public ritual. The real question is, how will you use this time? What is your intention? For you, on your own path, what does Khao Phansa truly mean?